If you had to put your activities in order of importance, which ones would you give priority to? Which ones would you do when you are tired, or which ones would you do on the weekend? How would you choose that distribution to enjoy the moment with each one and make the most out of it? How would you balance these activities? If you want to make better use of your time for your work, your hobbies, with your family and friends, and even for social media, you have to find balance. A way in which everything you want to do in a day, a week, or a month fits without leaving anything aside. And how do we get to that balance? Or better, first, let's ask ourselves, what is balance? It would be a good idea if you start by subdividing the different aspects of your life. This is very subjective, so it depends on the activities and the things that each one gives importance to. I will divide my life into work, mental and physical health, and personal projects. And we're going to take this as an example because it depends on how you view your activities. You can name them in another way or even have different ones, which can be more or less, but in no way would be wrong how you subdivide the aspects of your life. Let's start with work. What is work? Cambridge Dictionary defines it as the regular work that a person does to earn money. But is it always something from which you earn money? For example, for an honorary professor, isn't it their job to go to a university? Or for a volunteer firefighter to put out fires? As I wasn't convinced with that answer, I made a poll on my Instagram account so I could know what you guys thought, and so you defined work as a way for you to actively exchange time for money, effort rewarded, whether financially, materially, or emotionally, time invested in something that is useful for another person in exchange for a consideration, dependence, toxic love, polarized. In this last answer, it wasn't very clear to me what they were referring to, so I asked them and they told me. I don't know if it's the right word, but it's like the job options are good, or they're ultra precarious, paid under the table and with uncomfortable work environments. And work is not always something we like to do. It would be ideal, but... I recently saw a stand-up in which they said that it's now fashionable to be happy at work.
Igual te banco que hayas dejado tu trabajo, porque antes, eso es como, viste que ahora está de moda ser feliz.
And the thing is that we come from a culture in which work is not something you have to enjoy. When you have complained, how many of you have been told, well, it's work, as if you have to put up with it, that there is no other solution? Perhaps you can take a temporary job to save money, to get out of an urgent situation in your private life, or to live the experience. Yeah, there may be one or two that you don't like. But I believe that we can enjoy work, that we can find something that aligns with our profession, with what makes us happy, or with what satisfies our curiosity, and dedicate ourselves to that. Have you heard the phrase, choose a job you like and you will not have to work a day in your life? I don't think it's appropriate, because no matter how much you enjoy it, it's still a job. It's still something different from a hobby, something which we have a responsibility for. There are times, of course, when our hobby can become our job, and there are plenty of cases when this has happened. But in my opinion, when this happens, it stops being our hobby. Because when we end up doing something for a number of hours, a day, or a week, it's likely that we'll want to distract ourselves with something else, with a new hobby. And what are personal projects? They are activities that we have and do with a constant and extended effort over time. A hobby with a purpose, we could say. If I play LOL with my friends every weekend, it's a hobby. If this leads to the fact that I want to form a team or join an existing one, then my personal project is going to be able to compete. But I don't want you to think that a personal project is only of this kind. It can also overlap with a constant that already exists in your life. For example, your personal project can be to become the person who best handles Excel in your office, and to be the referent for your colleagues or even your bosses if they have a doubt. And the last aspect I would say my life has is health, both physical and mental. This includes everything that, to put it in one phrase, is good for me. Relationships with my family and friends, physical activity, doctors, hobbies, time with myself, and leisure. To say that this is good for me is to contradict myself with everything I said before, but I feel it's the only way to understand these miscellaneous things as a whole. Now I would like to emphasize the me time, because it's a concept that I realized I wasn't very clear about what it meant. Every time I say it, I'm going to be referring to the time I used to nurture myself, going for a walk, writing, meditating. But the mistake I was making is that within that aspect I was also including leisure, and that is something else. Within leisure we have lots of activities. Books, movies, social media, games. These are things that distract me a little from reality, that make me feel emotions, and that help me to be able to return to my work or project more recharged. Now it's important to make a division between all that at a healthy level versus at an addictive level. I can either watch a movie to rest and continue with my work, or spend a whole week marathoning a series and not making any progress with work, opening Instagram to see what my friends are up to, or spend 1 hour scrolling and completely disconnect from my project. Although wasting my time is something that shouldn't be ignored, that if I don't take it into consideration then it disappears, it's something that must be taken care of, something that would be good if we devote a more reasonable time to. But distracting us is good, that's why I place it in the health field. It's important that each one defines these aspects according to what these fields include, because this way it will be easier to choose how to distribute the time for each one and where to put the priority. We saw that these concepts are interrelated and that may confuse us, but it's normal. You have to realize that they all have one thing in common: you. To help you a little, it may be useful to make a graph on paper so you can write these concepts and draw all the lines you think are necessary. Because believe me, I wouldn't have been able to make all these interrelationships if I hadn't done this. Now then, how do I allocate my time? It was very helpful for me to assess at what times of the day I am most productive for each activity. For example, in the morning I like going to the gym, and I'm also very good at writing scripts. From 9 AM to 5 PM I go to the office, that's not negotiable. From 5 PM it's good to edit or record, and the weekends are for rest. I spend time with my family, I go for a walk, and I watch movies. Take a few weeks to try your activities at different times of the day, and each night write down how you were that day. If you think you were able to do things focused, or if you got distracted, how that happened, and if you think you would perform better in that activity in another time of the day. And the next day, try it. Now we come to the million-dollar question: what is balance? Balance is unattainable, a perfect concept that drives us to always continue investigating, to continue growing, to be better. If we have our life in balance, everything arranged, each thing within its place, there is no room for new things, neither to learn. Because seeking to get out of discomfort or imperfection is what gives us the space to keep growing. So categorize the activities that shape your life, organize your times, try your activities at different times of the day, and every time you see you're approaching a balance, get uncomfortable. Add a new activity, a difficulty to one you already have, or set yourself a new challenge. Doing this may come naturally to you, or it may take you a while to get out of your comfort zone, but in the long run you'll see how much you will have grown by always trying new things. I hope this video helps you to keep growing, and if you think it does, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you want more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.